Wow, okay. So best of times, worst of times, deja vu, all over again. Not the first half, but the second half felt a lot like 2024. And yet a lot of the game felt exactly like we've been seeing all season long. It's like we've got in this one game, we got a glimpse of all those great things that we know this team can be with Caitlin Clark, while also being reminded of all those terrible things that we get when Stephanie White is running the show. It's like freaking Jekyll and Hyde, man. Which team is going to win? Which team will the Fever turn out to be? I hope it's the fun one. I hope it's the one that reminded me a little bit of what a backcourt of Caitlin Clark and Kelsey Mitchell can be when Caitlin Clark is running the show and Kelsey Mitchell is feeding off of it. The first half, we saw a lot of the Kelsey Mitchell we don't want to see. A lot of head down, a lot of dribble, a lot of dribble in circles, forcing shots. And when she's doing that, and also not hitting anything, not hitting the proverbial ocean, can't hit the side of a barn. It is an absolute disaster. Now, the second half, we saw, I think, except maybe I can think of one drive to the basket that was probably ill-advised, but again, with a scorer, I will take that 100%. Again, I always try to be fair, man. I've been very hard on Kelsey Mitchell when I think it's deserved, but I also know what she can be when she reins it in and plays within Caitlin Clark and the system. And the second half, we got both her playing into that and her heating up, right? We saw it was like Kelsey Mitchell and Caitlin Clark in the second half, in the best of ways, because it could also degenerate into some bad stuff, but in the best of ways, Caitlin Clark and Kelsey Mitchell played a nice little game of anything you can do, I can do better. And they did it in a positive way that lifted this team, believe it or not, that was down 51-50, not to be confused with the Van Halen album of the same name, down 51-50 at halftime to the Chicago Sky, despite, by the way, 18 points and 7 assists from Caitlin Clark in the first half. I thought one thing that was interesting, and shout out Ben Daniel. He also, I heard him mention this as well, that you could one way to notice, at least with tonight, the shift of when they went from, because they started out playing Caitlin Clark basketball, and then they shifted. They started out, they got a lead with Caitlin Clark basketball. Then we shifted and we got the nonsense. And Ben noticed this too, and he mentioned this. So you could tell by Michaela Timpson, right? Michaela Timpson early on, 4 for 4, 8 points. I think Caitlin had all four of the assists on Michaela Timpson's buckets. If not, she had at least three of them. And then we went to a long stretch where it looked awful. It was boring. It wasn't Caitlin Clark basketball. Michaela Timpson still sitting on 8 points. Hadn't even taken a shot. It wasn't even like she was missing shots. Still 8 points, 4 for 4. Michaela Timpson and Caitlin Clark gonna be the future of the Indiana Fever. And that's I don't mean that as a knock on Kelsey. I'm just thinking, Kelsey might not be back. If they can figure it out, they'll figure it out. But she is on a she they can't core her again. Let me put it that way. Get rid of AB, trade AB while there's value. Get rid of her. The Fever are at least they're a better team without AB, as long as AB is going to be the Stephanie White hub system player. If we can make her a down low on the block, if we can make a run, and that was the other thing too, right? If y'all saw any of this game in the beginning, Michaela got at least two of those four buckets, layups in transition because she's the gazelle who flies down the court and Caitlin Clark hits her with passes. She also makes layups, unlike many of these other players. So that was a lot of fun to watch. We got a glimpse of what the two of them could be. And again, Kelsey, I didn't make a note of it. I'm sorry, but I think she only had 7 points in the first half. I can't remember what she shot, but it wasn't good. It was, she caught fire in the second half. Caitlin Clark pretty much was on fire all game. Kelsey Mitchell, 30 points, 10 of 19 from the field, 6 of 9 from three. Caitlin Clark, I don't know, Kelsey. That sounded pretty good, but 37 points, 13 of 24 from the field, 8 of 12 from three. By the way, those eight are a career high for Caitlin Clark. Oh, she also got 10 assists. Oh, that's her fifth 30-10 game. The entire WNBA combined in the history of the league has four 30-10 games. Five turnovers. I think they were all in the first quarter, maybe the first half, but I swear first quarter. I think it was the first quarter. Let me know if I'm wrong in the comments below. But at least two or three of them were drop passes. That type of stuff drives me nuts. So Caitlin and Kelsey, 14, geez, my Lord, 14 of 21 from 3-point range. That is two-thirds. By the way, that is two-thirds for both of them, man. That is insane, right? I have that right, don't I? Yeah, they both shot 67.7% from three. My goodness, 23 of 43 from the field in total. And oh, by the way, Kelsey Mitchell even added 4 assists. Absolutely wild. It is, again, y'all have heard me say this before, but I like to clarify because people say I said one thing and then forget everything else I said. This can be the best and most entertaining backcourt in the WNBA. I've continually said, as a scorer, Kelsey Mitchell is the best shooting guard in the WNBA. But I've also said, yes, she is a selfish scorer, and when she does it and embraces it within Stephanie White's system, it can be a problem. Both of those things can be true. When Kelsey Mitchell drops into Caitlin Clark, accepting Caitlin Clark, and I don't mean that as accepting, oh, Caitlin's better than me, but just accepting the role that she has within the system when Caitlin Clark is allowed to run it. Kelsey Mitchell becomes a much better player playing that way. Okay, when she's got a Caitlin Clark around her and she accepts that and plays off of it, as opposed to butting heads with it. She is a phenomenal, phenomenal two guard, best in the WNBA. This was, like I said, man, so much of this first half, I just wanted to pull my eyeballs out, blood shooting out of them. And then there were just some glimpses of like, yes, yes, this is Caitlin Clark basketball I want to see. This is Kelsey Mitchell basketball I want to see. Stop giving it to me in small doses. Embrace the game, Stephanie White. Embrace it. Let Caitlin Clark run free. And this team will not only win games, but they'll be entertaining as well. And yes, that really, truly does matter. My goodness. One thing I want to talk about, I didn't talk about this much in my breakdown of the sabotage from Stephanie White because it was separate from the offensive system that I was focusing on more, but the rotations, and I've talked about this briefly before, but again, you saw it tonight. Her rotations, her substitution patterns are horrifically bad. Horrifically bad. At one point you had Caitlin Clark out there. You had, I think, Raven Johnson, Monique Billings, Lexi Hull. I think also Timpson, but I could have sworn maybe it was Sophie Cunningham at point. Maybe there was some crossover. No, I don't. Maybe it wasn't Sophie because I was thinking about the fact, and I said this before. When you have that out there, there's no second option. It's all Caitlin Clark, made even more impossible by the fact that there's no second option, which is like while I say, um, again, being fair to Kelsey Mitchell, even when Kelsey Mitchell is being selfish, it indirectly, in a weird way, is still a benefit to Caitlin Clark. And what I mean by that is, as much as they still try and take away Caitlin Clark and guard her at 94 feet and double team and triple team and all of that, they still kind of have to be worried about Kelsey Mitchell. I mean, look, You can focus on, hey, we're going to shut down Caitlin Clark and let others get their stuff, but at least there's still another offensive threat, right? When you run a rotation like this, like Stephanie White's running, you've got nothing else. I mean, they have no worries whatsoever about throwing everything at Caitlin Clark because there's no secondary scorer. And no, Lexi Hull is not a secondary scorer. That's not a knock on Lexi Hull. She just isn't. She can be a spot up 3-point shooter, sure, but she's not a secondary scorer. So there is no one, zero, zilch, zip, not a nil, nothing that can punish the defense if they just full on go after Caitlin Clark. I mean, these teams, they could literally, I mean, they basically throw everything at Caitlin Clark now, but when there's no one else that they feel even remotely threatened by because there's no secondary scorer, I mean, come on, you got to have some type of offense around Caitlin Clark a little bit. You cannot throw that team out on the court. That's insane. And then, you'll hear about Caitlin Clark forcing it or, that her lack of execution of the offense or turnovers or whatever it might be. And it's like, well, what do you expect when she has literally no offensive help? You cannot put Caitlin Clark in those situations all of the time. Am I making myself clear, man? Come on now. This is insane. Oh, we also what was the other thing that I thought was kind of odd. Kind of odd. We had Raven Johnson played 5 minutes. Mercedes Russell played 14. I don't understand that. Um, they combined for 19 minutes, yet Sophie Cunningham only played 11. And I think she played 6 the first half. I think. By the way, Misha Hines Allen was really solid tonight. 17 minutes, tough defense, three assists to go with 7 rebounds. So I thought she played well. By the way, Michaela Timpson also added 9 rebounds and 3 assists to go with her 12-point shooting, 6 of 7 from the field. This is a better basketball team when Aaliyah Boston is not out there. Now, if you're going to give me post All Star 2024 Aaliyah Boston, we can have that conversation. But the Aaliyah Boston we're getting with Stephanie White and this hub nonsense, it is a better team without Aaliyah Boston out there clogging things up in the way she does when she's out top, slowing down the offense, not making good decisions. The team is simply better absent Aaliyah Boston. Just the facts, man. It's just the facts. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to leave it there. Celebrate this one. This is a big win. They needed it in terms of seeding and so forth. So, quick favor, like, comment, subscribe. Y'all know the drill. I will talk to you later.